This video recording is a site inspection of 412 to 416 Oxford Street, Sydney, Australia, as part of an assignment for the University of Auckland, subject Civil 745, Seismic Assessment of Existing Buildings. This video was taken on 20th of August 2022. The site is located on a ridge line and on relatively flat ground. There are no mountain or hills nearby that will pose a threat to the building in the form of rockfall or landslides during an earthquake. No rock is observed at the ground surface, and it is assessed that there's no potential for liquefaction or lateral spreading. Therefore, a site soil class C is adopted. This is a two-story unreinforced clay brick masonry building being in a continuous row of shop houses and located at the end of the row. There is no gap between the subject building and the neighboring building on the right, as shown on both the lower and upper floors. The building on the right has its chimney located about 3 meters higher than the roof level of our building, and the chimney is located on top of a gable wall. Hence, both the chimney and the gable wall are a potential falling hazard to the occupants of our building in study. As the height of the roof is the same level on both buildings and it abuts the adjacent building, it is assessed that there is little pounding potential from the right neighboring building. Checking for non-structural items at height, I noticed that the front facade has a line of parapet about 1 meter high, and this slopes to the back of the building on the side wall. To the left of the building is Elizabeth Street, which is a busy road that slopes to the back of the building, and this separates it from the building to the left. From Elizabeth Street, 4 chimneys can be observed along the side wall, with 1, 2, and 4 chimney flues respectively. As there is a lack of access to the roof of the building, aerial photo was obtained from Google Maps instead to check the roof condition. The roofs of the 3 units have no ridge line, therefore it is a flat roof. If looking at the shadows cast on the parapet of the side walls, it is seen that the shadow is not uniform and looks like a wedge, therefore suggesting that the parapets are horizontal while the roof is sloping backwards. In the image, it also appears that the parapets might be cantilevered above the roof based on the shadows they cast onto the roof behind them. Therefore, the parapets are assumed to be architectural features only. There are no shadows cast on the front parapet. However, from the side, it can be observed that the parapet rises above the roof, and there is no evidence of any bracing of the front and side parapets. The rear of the building also does not appear to have a parapet and looks to be flat. There is a total of 8 chimneys on the roof and having different number of chimney pots. As indicated on the photo in red, the number of flues shown on the photo varies from 1 to 4. At the rear of the building, 2 chimneys with double flues can be observed on 414 and 416 Oxford Street, looking identical and symmetrical with each other. The double flue chimney is highest at the rear, and the brick courses are visible and counted to be 20, which is about 1.7 meters high. Looking at the bricks across the width, it is assessed that the width is about 800 by 500 millimeters. It is also inferred that the chimney with a single flue is about 500 by 500 millimeters, while the chimney with 4 flues is about 800 by 800 millimeters. The walls are clay brick masonry, and there is clear evidence of ventilation gaps along the base, mid-height, and just below the roof. This is also present on the front facade. The front and side wall has a Flemish bond pattern, while the rear walls are of running bond pattern. It turns out that one of the bricks on the left side wall was loose and can be taken out. However, behind the first leaf, there is no cavity. Hence, it is assessed that the first and second leaf walls are solid walls. This ties in with the typical build of Flemish bond, where the header brick is laid over 2 leaves of walls. A typical 50 mm cavity is assumed to exist behind the first 2 leaves of the wall, and then a third leaf of wall is built as the internal wall. From the photo obtained from Facebook of the Unit 412's tenants, a brick wall with running bond pattern was observed as the internal wall. On the side wall, the lintels above the openings are brick lintels. Whereas on the front of the building, the concrete lintels are decorative and also act as a structural item. For simplicity of analysis, the arch window located at the front of the building is approximated to a 1.8 meter wide times 1.8 meter high rectangular opening. It is not possible to do a comprehensive inspection of the interior walls that divide the 3 tenancies, so I have assumed that the 2 interior walls are made up of 3 leaves masonry having an overall dimension of 470 mm. For the purpose of this assessment, and due to lack of accessibility for the rest of the walls, only the side wall along Elizabeth Street has been inspected in order to establish the brick properties that will be used for the entire building. Considering the sloping side wall, there is clear evidence of repointing of mortar surfaces, and on inspection, the repointed mortar looks quite recent and looks to be on the surface only, appearing as hard cement mortar. The upper floors that are not repointed are showing deeply etched and loose bricks. However, this part of the wall could not be reached to test the mortar, but it is judged that the mortar joints are weak, therefore has resulted in erosion over the years. This is believed to be present throughout the thickness of the wall, the weak mortar. Most part of the lower building which can be reached up to has been repointed. Using a metal key to scratch against the bricks shows that the brick is hard. There has been no scratches, and same for the mortar, which did not flake off, hence it is a good cement mortar. This part of the building, which has been repointed, is different from the upper part, which can be seen to have bricks loosen up, therefore the mortar would be weak up there. From the rear view, the parapet wall at the top was observed to have cracked in the past and then repointed. It is believed to not pose any immediate threat. The rear view of the building is also showing different quality of repointed mortar over the years. The timber floors of the subject building was not visible, hence the timber floor from a nearby pub on 380 Oxford Street was used as a reference instead. The joists run from the back of the building to the front, parallel to the side of the building, and below the joists are beams supporting them. No insect damage is observed, however, water damage is present. The flooring has some separation, which looks like more than a 3 mm gap at some places. Visible nails are also observed to be rusted. Hence, it is assessed that the timber diaphragm is in poor condition. The side wall has been scanned and there is no evidence of interruption of the bond pattern. This implies that the joists and the beams would have just been seated on the pocket in the internal wall and is not connected to the external wall. This also means that the internal wall is load-bearing and the external wall is not. The external wall only bears its own weight. The foundation of this building is Hawkesbury sandstone. This is the end of the video and concludes the site inspection of the 2-story brick masonry building on Oxford Street. Material properties and dimensions established are presented in further details within the site engineering report. Thank you.